The story of Ugochukwu. In a small, dusty village nestled between rolling hills in Umu-Okebia, Osu, Nigeria. It is situated between the Sahel to the north and the Gulf of Guinea to the south in the Atlantic Ocean in West Africa. There lived a young boy named Ugochukwu. His family was poor, but their hearts were rich with love, kindness, and the warmth of community. Ugochukwu's home was a modest mud hut with a thatched roof, where he lived with his mother, Ngozi, and his younger sister, Chioma. His father, a farmer, had passed away when Ugochukwu was just a baby, leaving his mother to raise them alone. Every morning, Ugochukwu would wake before the sun, helping Ngozi fetch water from the well and tend to their small patch of land. Their meals were simple: rice, beans, and sometimes a little fish or vegetables from the garden. There were no luxuries, but their days were filled with laughter, storytelling, and the closeness of family. Ugochukwu had a gift, though it wasn't something you could see at first glance, like beauty or strength. It was his hunger for knowledge. He would walk miles to the nearest school, his worn sandals slapping against the dusty path, to sit in a small, crowded classroom. The schoolhouse was little more than a thatched shelter with walls made of woven bamboo, and the teacher was an elderly man named Mr. Amodi, who had taught generations of children from the village. Though Ugochukwu had little in terms of material wealth, his mind was rich. He was curious about everything. He devoured every book he could get his hands on, and when the other children would run off to play, Ugochukwu would stay behind, asking Mr. Amodi endless questions. His passion for learning was contagious, and soon, even his classmates began to pay attention, inspired by Ugochukwu's enthusiasm. Ngozi, his mother, was proud of her son's thirst for knowledge, though she sometimes worried that his dreams were too big for someone from their village. Ugochukwu, she would say, sometimes the world is too hard for people like us. We must be content with what we have. But Ugochukwu would smile and reply, "Mama, I may not have much now, but I believe there is more waiting for me out there. I just have to work hard and learn." As the years went by, Ugochukwu's love for learning only deepened. He studied mathematics, science, and languages in his spare time, even helping Mr. Amodi with the younger students. Eventually, his hard work paid off. One day, a visitor came to the village. He was a young man from a far-off city, a representative of a foundation that awarded scholarships to bright students from underprivileged backgrounds. He had heard of Ugochukwu's intelligence and determination. After a long conversation with Ugochukwu and Ngozi, the visitor offered Ugochukwu a scholarship to attend high school in the city. It was a dream come true. Ugochukwu could hardly believe it. It meant leaving his village, leaving his mother and sister, but Ugochukwu knew it was the only way to fulfill his dreams. The first time he stepped off the bus in the bustling city, Ugochukwu was overwhelmed by the noise, the tall buildings, and the fast pace of life. But his focus remained clear. He threw himself into his studies, excelling in every subject. The city was a world of opportunities, and Ugochukwu was determined to seize every one. After high school, he won a full scholarship to a prestigious university, where he studied engineering. Through it all, Ugochukwu never forgot his roots. He sent money back to Ngozi and Chioma, and when he became successful, he returned to his village often to give back. With the knowledge and skills he had gained, Ugochukwu started a project to bring clean water to his village, building a well system that would provide fresh water for everyone. He also helped establish a small school for children, making sure they had access to the same education that had changed his life. Years later, Ugochukwu became a successful engineer and businessman. He used his wealth to fund development projects across the country, roads, hospitals, schools, and to support orphan children who had the same dreams he once did. Ugochukwu's company grew, and with it, his reputation as a man who had risen from nothing to build something that would change the future of his country. Despite his success, Ugochukwu remained humble, never forgetting the people who had helped him along the way, especially his mother, Ngozi. In his village, he was known as the boy who had never given up. And as Ugochukwu looked out over the horizon at the village where he had once played as a child, he knew that the greatest treasure was not the wealth he had earned, but the journey he had traveled, and the lives he had touched along the way. As for Ngozi, she often told the other villagers, "My son is proof that dreams, no matter how impossible they seem, can come true. But only if he never stops